This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 12th of March 2019, and I am 2J.
I am 2M.
And I am Miss K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. Daily Nation, dreams shattered, families torn apart. The Star, Ethiopian crash, a tale of painful loss and tragedy. And finally, The Standard, shattered dreams. I'm going to call out the Daily Nation and The Standard immediately because I think we're reading from the same script, but the editors were at the same place. Similar wordplay. Dreams shattered dreams. I don't know.
You know what, guys? Someone has to pay for this. You cannot have 346 lives done in a span of 5 months. Right?
Oh yes, that's the Lion Air Indonesia crash and the Ethiopian Airlines crash this week.
And I tell you what, today the Singaporeans and the Australians have banned Boeing 737 MAX from their airspace. Singapore has banned them, Ethiopia has banned them, China has banned them, the Cayman Airways.
They haven't actually banned them. So a lot of these countries, they've grounded the planes. And so grounding, from what I understand, is that the planes are being serviced on the ground, they've not been taken, they might fly eventually.
They might fly again.
Once they're cleared for
However, Ethiopian has decided to not ground them, but to completely take them out of service.
So they're obsolete.
Ethiopian do not want to have them flying in their country.
What does that tell you guys?
I think you're pointing the blame squarely at one particular party.
Look, guys.
And if I was to be honest, I think you're pointing the blame at Boeing because
I am. And here's the thing. On November 2018, after the Indonesian crash, the Boeing and FAA issued a warning after the Indonesia crash to say that 40 sensors can cause the Boeing 737 MAX to nosedive.
And that is a very dangerous statement.
Yes.
Just putting it out there as an admission that there's something wrong with the plane.
Absolutely.
And that if it has faulty sensors, the cause of which is not stated. So they don't say what the cause of the faulty sensors is, but they say that if it gets faulty sensors, the plane is nosediving.
It will nosedive. And here's the thing. It took 11 minutes for that Indonesian plane, the Lion Air plane, to hit the water. It took 6 minutes, from what we have gathered, for the Ethiopian airplane to crash. Right?
But there's two things from this statement you've made that confuse me when we look at this Ethiopian situation. The first one is, if Boeing say that there's nothing faulty, and this is during the Indonesian crash, then yet again after Ethiopian, they issue a statement saying, we have no intention of issuing new guidelines on how to use this plane.
Yes.
Isn't that strange?
They're covering their backs.
Then number two, the FAA, which governs airlines in America, also claim that there's something wrong with the sensors of this plane. Yet while the rest of the world, how many continents now?
It is countries from 5 continents.
From 5 continents have refused to fly this plane in their airspace. Yet the Americans have said, we have full confidence in Boeing planes.
You have to understand that that is their home ground.
It's a
Boeing
business decision.
Operates out of Washington. So I don't think that we would be quick to point a finger or blame it, bearing in mind 2 things. One, the Ethiopian Airlines crash was less than a week ago. We don't have a report. In fact, worse yet, the Indonesian Lion Air crash happened in October last year, but guess what? The report will come out in September this year. But so there's no definitive answer of exactly what went wrong.
There's actually preliminary data from the crash of that plane.
From the Indonesian Lion Air crash.
And that is what has led investigators
to make this assumption.
That assumption, including the FAA and Boeing. And let me tell you, before those guys make a statement,
well, here's the thing, you can agree, and we did talk about this yesterday. Pilots in America are saying that, yes, this particular, whatever update they did to the plane, or MCAS, whatever it's called, does do something that the pilots themselves are unprepared for. It takes over their plane without giving them forewarning and completely grounds the plane or does whatever it is going to do to the plane. So for that, that particular element is dangerous. I would be afraid as a pilot if at any point while I'm flying this plane, I will lose control of this plane.
I was reading a piece from an aviation website, an authority, and you know what they said? The the problem can be so bad that it actually, the system can inadvertently kill. It goes to actually kill the passengers. It's man versus machine.
I feel like this is a bad episode of a movie in which the machines take over and kill us.
The robots are taking over. You're giving a robot authority over a human being, and a human being can be able to tell that there's a plane that's about to go into storm.
Unfortunately, the problem with that argument is that that's kind of the direction technology is going in right now. When you discuss AI, artificial intelligence versus human intelligence, we are moving towards artificial intelligence.
But I will give you this. I will quote a book. I think it's Faster, Smarter, Better. And I'll quote an airline pilot who flew a plane that has a simulation that has never been recreated. Qantas plane that went into failure, and he flew the machine and landed it, saving all passengers on board in a scenario that has never been recreated, again, even in flight simulators, using the most skilled pilots.
Absolutely.
And his statement, and I quote, is this, going against what you're saying about AI, is that machines can fail, and you cannot hand over full control to an unthinking, unfeeling, unable to process a simultaneous and conflicting data machine. Only a human being can be able to do that, and can be able to replicate and use old maps.
So what do you guys think that this means for Boeing? Because 2M, we see that you're trying to shift a bit of the blame to Boeing. However, I think in defense of Ethiopian, and I think this goes back to some of how the way the media has told this story, which I think has been very unfair and very anti-African. Because if you look at, for example, the amount of accidents/incidents that Lion Air has had in the past 16 years.
Okay,
I'll read them out to you. So these are the past incidents or accidents they have had with deaths and fatalities. 2002, 2004, 2006, 2006, 2009, 2009, 2010, 2013, 2013, 2014, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2018, 2018, 2019. The most recent accident/incident Lion Air has had was February 16th, 2019.
And nobody's talking about it.
And nobody is talking about that.
Okay, I agree with you. There is a lot of negative publicity and a lot of black shaming, if I could call it that, when it comes to reporting of incidences and accidents when they happen in Africa. And there's a lot of, there has been calls by a lot of Western media houses looking at the the growth, the trajectory that Ethiopian Airlines has taken in changing its airport, Bole International, in expanding its fleet, in getting more pilots. And yes, I agree. We don't know where the blame lies, but I agree it should be apportioned fairly and equally, and we should call out the black shaming that has been happening.
Meanwhile, in that same period, Ethiopia has had, I think, that was post 2000.
Oh Lord, so it's probably even less.
Exactly. So for the Western media to question so heavily and
the competence of the airline, I think
Ethiopia is known to be the safest African airline. So I think to
fastest expanding
as well.
But safest, and their track record shows.
I mean, moreover, if you look at how the media looked at the victims, headlines were 18 Canadians killed, 8 Americans, and so on and so forth. No mention of the Kenyans, of the Africans, which I think is such...
But let me be devil's advocate a little bit.
Be devil's advocate before I ground that statistic.
You know, Prof likes telling us one thing. We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. Now, if the Brits have lost 18 people in one accident, the Brits will not write 4 Kenyans, 32 Kenyans.
And that's a fair argument.
They will say, because they are British. Americans will do the same. 32 Americans killed. Not that it is fun to say those numbers, but they also want to appeal to their home audience.
To their people.
Right? Well, that is true. I have to bear that argument.
We don't see things as they are. We see things as we are.
But what I'm also calling, and what I think Tujay is also calling us to do, is to call to order the Western media that they should not devalue any life just because of the source of its citizenship.
Yes.
That's true.
So call out and also do not devalue the growth or the competence of an airline just because of its resident home country being Ethiopia. And yet it has done an excellent job in growing its fleet. It's done an excellent job in growing its airline. It was the first African airline in our region to have a direct flight to the Americas. So that is something that we should call out and recognize the good things where they are. And in fact, I feel like their calling out of commission of MAX, of 737 MAXes, is a testament to their track record and their safety track record.
In fact, we should be questioning those American airlines who have refused to do the same.
Absolutely. When you see the Chinese grounding their planes.
Yeah.
So one last thing before we go,
yeah.
let's talk about the headlines themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do have a 3-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines for you. We ask ourselves, are they topical or are they speculative? Are they repetitive or are they groundbreaking? And are they thoughtful or lazy?
Yeah.
And shattered dreams, dreams shattered, families torn apart, Ethiopian crash, a tale of painful loss and tragedy. We recognize that this is a continuing story.
Yes.
And we recognize the human angle that has been taken.
Yes, yeah.
I like that they put faces to
Yeah.
the stories, and I felt very saddened by
That's
a lot
very
of the
true.
stories. Entire families, poof, disappearing.
In
The
fact,
pain
in fact, I would
is
congratulate the papers on doing that. I think, as you said, giving us faces and names to these stories is very important. Yeah.
It humanizes. It
does,
makes you
humanizes.
see them not as statistics. These are not just 32 people who passed away. These are 32 Kenyans who had lives, who had dreams, who had
Families.
stories,
Families.
who had. And in fact, I'd also like to mention that I think that those statistics, the ones you're mentioning, the Canadians who passed away, the Brits who passed away, were also from
Also.
African descent.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So you may not qualify them as that, but I think we share that dual heritage.
Very true.
Children of immigrants who had moved away and who were coming home with their parents, who are counted as foreign nationals,
Yeah.
but
But
they're
they're
also our
Kenyans.
children.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I think,
What do we say about the headlines?
I think we keep them. Let's not trash anything.
yeah. I wouldn't say not necessarily any winning headlines,
No,
but
not
yeah.
a winning headline.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could be better with the wordplay, but we're not trashing.
All right.
Any.
So I guess we can move on to cartoons.
Yes.
Yes. On to our next segment, the political opinions that we call cartoons in this country. And just like the headlines, we have a 3-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves, are they humorous or are they dry? Are they satirical or are they pessimistic? And finally, are they effective or just plain lazy?
I was suggesting to 2M, maybe we start with the Daily Nation, only
Okay.
because its cartoon is related to the Ethiopian story.
Story, yeah.
As a continuing story.
Where is
Page
this thing?
14.
That's page 14.
Let's use our, let me get another set to help us
There we
with
go.
them.
Here, we have it.
Okay, cool.
All right. So the cartoon of choice by Monene today is a lit candle in honor of those who perished in the Ethiopian flight.
Yeah.
And okay, I want to make an unpopular opinion now. 2M, I can already feel that you're going to bash me. I think that this is a bit of a lazy cartoon. I think that it fails to look at what has happened to these families in an intelligent or respectful way. I think a lit candle is...
What I would say is that I feel it's obvious, not necessarily, but it does recognize the moment. He's giving tribute. It's a tribute to those who've lost their lives by lighting and burning a candle on their behalf.
I think it's appropriate. I don't think any, what do you call it, memorial or whatever it is, given to people, I don't think we should question it. If people have died because of this,
I would tend to agree with you, because if whenever you do have a tribute for people, you either put in flowers or you light candles. The only thing is that it is rather obvious.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I don't know, maybe whether we're being over analytical and saying that you must always say something and you must always try and say more than you need to.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just taking the pure, if I could call it that, route.
Yes.
And just giving a memorial for those that lost their lives.
Yeah.
And as it is, it's
Yeah,
just
nothing
that.
special to me, but
A
yeah,
memorial.
of
Fantastic.
course. All right,
Yep.
so I guess we can move on now.
Yeah, you and put it.
Parking bay.
Parking bay,
Please
take this
allow.
one as well. So the
Is this-
standard, yes.
That one has a cartoon.
You can have them here. Okay.
Wow, Kado. Caricature of two men that we might know. Caricature and the likeness of ODM leader Raila Odinga and a person who looks like DP Ruto.
Does it actually look like him though?
Yeah, because of, I think, the nose.
Okay, well, he's also wearing
They are
headgear, a
both-
head wrap.
Headgear, yeah, and it's because
Guys, can we just be blunt? These
What?
two cartoon men, they're naked.
They're naked.
Oh yes, they are naked in a ring, in a boxing ring. And I have to call out Raila's outfit. His sock, the sock, they all have just one sock on.
Oranges.
It has oranges on it. His outfit left behind at the bottom there has
At least it's
oranges
consistent,
on
huh?
it. So
Yeah.
it's very consistent.
I like Gado. But if you look closely at this cartoon, The
body
caricature of
structure.
DP is a guy who goes to the gym a lot.
Is this, oh yes,
he's
we must
strong.
mention. Must we
He's a
mention?
young guy, you know?
He's a young guy who's ready to fight.
He's ready and you see the oomph.
And raw.
He has a dad bod. The belly is just hanging. It's hanging
time is
out.
catching
And
up with
he's
him.
looking here and the DP is there.
And so the little character Gado always has in his cartoon says, from bare knuckles to bare butt. Yeah.
This is very naughty of Gado.
Yeah, I mean, he's telling us in this cartoon, all bets are off, you know? Take it to the ring. Mano e mano.
Yeah, mano, mano.
Yeah.
For sure. Okay, so I think it's humorous.
I think it is humorous, I would
think
agree.
it's
I think
humorous.
it's very funny.
I think it's absolutely humorous.
Very
And I
funny.
think without saying so much,
Yeah.
it tells a whole story.
It tells, yes.
It tells us where we are. It
Yeah.
also tells us where we're going.
And it tells who has the advantage and who might not have it.
Well, it's setting you up because just because you have a physical advantage doesn't mean that you have a tactical advantage. I don't know.
That's true.
It's just setting up the stage for the battle.
Yeah.
It's not telling you how the battle will actually go. It's just set the stage.
That's
Yeah.
true. But why are they putting DP without shoes?
Both of them
Or
have
a
no
sock?
shoes and both of them have only one
Or
sock.
a
I don't know
sock?
what that
Are they
means.
talking about the hustler thing?
No, both of them have no sock. You've
Toel, my
overanalyzed
gosh,
that.
please.
Okay, before we make a determination on this cartoon, let's see the final one from the
Yes.
star. And on that note, let's just put it here. We've not made a determination.
Sure,
We've
we'll
not said
come back
anything.
to
We've
it.
just said that it's humorous.
All right, the star. What do we have today?
Okay.
I like this one as well.
You do?
You do know it's
Okay,
the same
well,
characters.
we
There's a
can-
repetition. So
yeah.
I do bring everybody back in.
What Victor Ndula
There we go.
is telling us here is succession politics is playing right before our televisions, right?
Right before our eyes. Actually, I feel like what he's saying, it's being cooked because they're spicing it.
Yes, they're spicing it. Raila is using political capital, all right? DP is using
The pepper of 2022.
all right? I don't know whose broth will cook better.
There are two cooks.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like there's an allusion. Thank you for giving me that allusion.
Yeah.
To too many cooks spoil the broth. The broth may overcook.
But why does Ndula always draw Ruto looking
Crying?
like he's agonizing
Oh
or
man,
something?
it's fantastic. I love it so much.
Isn't he? Isn't he really?
Oh, it's my favorite.
Oh,
Yeah,
my.
I don't know if I'm a fan of this
Yeah.
cartoon.
I feel like it's a true expression of what is actually
Of what
happening.
is happening.
it's very
It shows, it literally represents what is going on.
Yeah.
The
The damn
political.
scandals.
No, with everything, generally, politics is being cooked in front of our own eyes in the media.
Yes.
And where
Yeah, we're
politics
being
is being
Yes.
cooked.
we're being
And we're
played.
eating it up.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
eating it up.
Eating
Yeah.
this soup up.
Yes.
So these
yes.
two know exactly what they're doing. Yeah, I think they're playing the public and they're using the media to do that to us.
Yeah.
But there's also the chance that they may overcook it. Thank you, Kevin, for bringing that to my mind. I hadn't even thought of that.
So when we think of these two,
So-
what?
Victor versus Gado. I have to say, bare knuckles.
And bare
It
butts.
tickles me more.
Yeah,
It tickles me
I
more.
would agree.
Gado tickles me more, but this guy Ndula, I think,
Do not tunnel.
is a little bit has an intelligent cartoon.
Yeah, I would still go with Gado from the Standard.
Yeah.
Well, I do agree about the intelligence of this, and you have to analyze it and read it.
Yeah.
But I do love
Gado's.
the bare knuckle simplicity,
Might
the
I
honestness
suggest,
of
Yeah.
this.
in light of the boxing motif in this cartoon, what if we just have a draw today,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think that we're you know.
Yes,
We're trying to
Yeah,
pick
we're
and
swaying.
choose.
We are.
We're picking and
I
choosing.
think that they're both good. They're both a reflection of the
Okay,
moment
so I
in
think-
their own way.
I think
Yeah.
we have our own historical moment
Yes.
where today we have a draw for the winning cartoon, Victor Ndula of the Star and Gado of the
Standard.
Standard.
Yeah.
In fact, they share the same theme,
Yes.
represented from different angles.
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
think they speak to each other. So we have
Very
a
well.
draw for the winning cartoon today. And there you have it. This is Winning Headlines. See you tomorrow.